One thing I like about Helldivers is how creative you can get with your loadouts. For example, in today's video, we'll be focusing on the idea of confusing, staggering and stunning enemies to the point of where they are unable to do anything on their end. And all of this will involve things we are already quite familiar with, such as using fire, gas, stun, arc, etc. This isn't about killing things the fastest, it's about making sure the enemy can't even move. We're turning bug breaches, bot drops, and squid drop-ins into inescapable death traps. This is the zone control build, and it's pretty glorious. So before we start the breakdown, we need to look into the concept. We all have run certain loadouts that are both fun and chaotic to use. For me, I tend to run setups that are light on armor and allow me to get to areas pretty fast, while also being heavily destructive, like always using the leveler and portable hellbomb backpack with the street scout setup as well. So I thought, why don't we create something similar, but more built to the elements? The goal here is simple: create overlapping fields of denial and destruction. We're going to slow them down, stun them, burn them, maybe even a bit of arc, and while they're stuck, we'll then bring in even more damage until nothing's left. It's a playstyle I like to call the Mobile Chaos Commander, and is built purely for fun, so please don't get angry at me. Alright, let's get into the gear that makes this beautiful mess possible. For our primary weapon, we have a few choices to select here, depending on what you want exactly. We have the Liberate Concussive, which is designed for stunning and staggering enemies and has a built-in extended magazine, so you can use it for longer. Although the downside is the lack of damage you'll have. We then have the Pacifier, which is also the same, but has medium pen instead. But also it lacks damage and ammo, so you'll run out pretty fast as well. And then you have the Hold, which allows you to stun and damage enemies all in one with a switch of a button. To be honest, your primary can be left open-ended, as long as it's something that can stagger, stun, confuse, etc. Those examples given are great because they offer something that we need and can be mixed and matched with our stratagems. So you have nothing to sweat about here, just find something that falls into the specific category and then go from there. For the secondary, this would depend on what your primary will be. If you've chosen a weapon that does not apply much damage, then the Talon is a great backup weapon to use. If not, then the Missile Pistol is the second best to pick, just because of its anti-armor capabilities. And for grenades, I chose the C4 gas. We want to maximize destruction in a small area, so having gas, which is potent at confusing groups of enemies, is exactly what we need. But if you need something a bit more potent and effective for objectives, then the Pyrotech is the next best thing for its multiple usages. And then armor, I will stick with something more nimble, like the Street Scout set with Siege Ready, as the following passive will help with making my primaries last longer in battle, and the extra reload speed is quite beneficial. Now for the stratagems. First up, we have the B-Flam 80 Cremator, or even Flamethrower. Since all fire weapons have been given a significant buff towards how fire will interact with enemies, this thing can absolutely melt swarms. It's incredible for clearing out hordes of bugs, both big and small, and its range and damage is impressive enough to be used in generally all fronts. This is definitely a tool you want to bring with you to battle, but then can be swapped out for the standard flavor instead if you prefer something to where you have your backpack space free. Next, we have the EMS Mortar Sentry. This is arguably the most crucial piece of the entire puzzle. Unlike its explosive cousins, the mortar's main job isn't to kill but to stun. While the impact can take out smaller bunks, its real power is locking down entire waves of enemies. You drop this behind cover, and it makes them perfect stationary targets for everything else you've got. Then we have the Orbital Gas Strike. This is fantastic for area denial. It deals damage over time and slow enemies caught inside, causing them to panic and break up their advance. Dropping this onto a bug breach before it even opens up means anything that crawls out is immediately walking into a toxic cloud. If you don't choose the following, then having the gas dog is also a great alternative, but only if you swap out your support weapon as well. Finally, to top it all off, the Orbital 120 HE Barrage. So you've got a massive group of enemies locked down by your EMS mortar, and sizzling your gas and fire. What's next? You call in the barrage to wipe them off the map. It provides huge explosive pressure, ensuring almost nothing gets out alive. And, like always in my builds, you do need at least one red strat just to help you out. So how does this all come together? When you get an objective, or see a breach, your first move is to deploy the EMS Mortar Sentry. Place it behind a rock or a wall where it's safe. This is your base foundation. As the enemies start pushing, they'll walk right into the mortar's field and get stunned. Now, you create what I would call the kill box. Throw down an incendiary or gas grenade, and then blanket the area with your orbital gas strike. At this point, they're stunned, they're slowed, and they're standing in the fire and poison. This is your moment. This is where you pull out your flamethrower and then just let it rip. The combined damage from the fire and gas will shred smaller enemies, and the sustained flame will help you melt through the medium targets. If it's a huge breach with multiple heavies, that's where the 120 barrage comes right in, to which you can then drop that onto the stunned enemies for a glorious screen-shaking final. This build is an absolute monster for any defensive missions, like evacuations or any objective with a lot of choke points. It excels at controlling massive swarms of bugs, squids, and bots. And in a squad, you become an amazing support player, creating safe zones and making it easy for your teammates to pick up priority targets. However, the loadout does have its weak points. It definitely struggles with long range precision damage. You also have to be very careful because you can cause a lot of friendly fire if your team isn't paying attention. You also need to be careful with the gas and fire being around as well, since the armor you're using is light and has less resistance to such effects. If it becomes too much, I would highly advise you switch to another armor set that reduces the amount of damage you take from both physical and elemental, which could be going up to medium or heavy armor, or something that reduces the elemental damage you take. So there you have it, the zone control loadout. It's messy, it's chaotic, and is an absolute blast to play with. If you're tired of the same old builds, I dare you give this one a try. Embrace the mayhem, and let me know in the comments below, what are your favourite chaotic and also non-meta builds? And if you enjoyed this guide, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Helldivers 2 content. Like always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next drop.